All right, welcome to the CIY Capital Daily NQ Recap. We're going to cut through all the noise, show you what really moved the market today, and get you ready for tomorrow's open. Let's get right into it. So today, that's Wednesday, March 11th, it wasn't about some huge screaming rally or a massive market drop. Nope. The real story today was this invisible fight happening just under the surface. I mean, look at this. On paper, the NASDAQ futures, the NQ, finished down just 0.06%. You'd call that flat, right? But believe me, that tiny little number is hiding a total brawl between some really powerful forces. And this right here was the tug of war. On one end of the rope, you had these two huge drags trying to pull the market into the mud. Oil prices jumped a crazy 4%, and the 10-year yield, think of it as the government's credit card interest rate, crept back up over 4.2%. But, pulling on the other end, you had the tech giant Oracle, which pretty much single-handedly tried to save the day, soaring over 9% after a monster earnings report. Okay, let's talk about oil for a second, because this is where things got really interesting. The government announced the biggest release from the strategic reserves ever. We're talking 400 million barrels. Now, normally, that would absolutely crush oil prices. But oil still went up. Why? Well, because of missile strikes in the Strait of Hormuz. The market is basically screaming at us that 400 million barrels of oil doesn't mean a thing if a major shipping artery gets shut down. So with all that pushing and pulling going on, let's zoom in on the battlefield itself. These are the key price levels, the actual lines on the chart where the fight was won and lost today. If you trade the NQ, these were really the only two lines that mattered today. We had the ceiling at $25,180.00, and that's exactly where sellers showed up and just stopped every rally cold. Then you had the floor down at $24,873.50, where buyers dug in and held the line. And where did we close? Smack in the middle of that war zone. Go ahead and write these levels down. They're important. Of course, the NQ doesn't live on an island, right? You always have to check in on the neighbors to see what kind of pressure they're putting on the market. And today, it was a pretty rough neighborhood. You had the 10-year yield up, crude oil up big time, and the Dow Jones was down over 0.5%. You know, that combination, higher borrowing costs and higher energy prices, is just a brutal headwind for tech stocks. It's like a 1-2 punch. So with all this chaos, how could you have possibly traded it? You definitely don't want to be guessing. You need a blueprint. So let's just walk through a really disciplined, simple setup. This is the exact system Ron Rose teaches in his one-on-one coaching. It's not complicated, but it is absolutely critical. Every single trade you take needs these three things: a super clear entry point, a stop to protect your capital, and a target to take your profits. See, we don't gamble here. We follow a system. And hey, if you want to build a system like that for yourself, one that you can actually trust and rely on every single day, that's what personalized coaching is all about. It's getting that one-on-one help to build your own plan. You know, the whole goal of the coaching at CIY Capital is to create a custom plan that fits you. It honestly doesn't matter if you're a complete beginner, if you're trading a smaller account, or even if you're a pro who's just looking for that extra edge. So the real question is, are you ready to stop guessing and finally start building a plan that actually fits your life and helps you reach your goals? If the answer is yes, the next step couldn't be simpler. Just visit CIYcapital.com to get started. And that's a wrap for today's recap. Now remember, all of this is for educational purposes only. It is not financial advice. For more daily content like this, go follow @RonRoseTrading. We'll see you for the recap tomorrow.